In today's recording, I am going to concentrate on feelings. I am going to concentrate on feelings in two parts. I'm going to concentrate on the feelings of the families of the assassinated Kenyans. And I'm also going to share with you the feelings of us, the whistleblowers, me as a case study. Where, where the feelings of the family of the assassinated collides or do not agree with that one of a whistleblower, then the feelings of the whistleblower is suppressed. Remember, the important person here is he who lost his relative more by far than he who is a whistleblower. So I just wanted to share with you the experiences that I've had with them and the wordings that I've had. I've also don't like attention going to them because there is a way that Kanu government punished people that if you were to say the way they live, uh, it is like exposing their weaknesses, and Kanu or those who are pro Kanu of that day, not Kanu of today, pro Kanu would be very happy that they succeeded in whatever they are wanted. But I'll just give one example. Somebody was Professor Umamuga. He was a professor in environment. Then they removed him from the university, just that they did to Saitoti to come and prop up the government. He wrote a very good environmental report in which the president read in somewhere. Is it Brazil in South America? And people thought that Moi had, Umamuga had tuned Moi to in this what we call acting drama, such a way that the way Moi was addressing the meeting was in such a way that one would think that Moi has a degree in environmental science. But then they reduced him to a level that the last time I met him is that he was asking of the Matatu to Rongai how much it is and had to send me to railways Uchumi to go and get enough change so that in case they reach Bomas and change the fare, he would have paid upon arrival. So sometimes exposing the problem or the hardship that these families have gone through, it is unfair, according to me. So, and also you may have noticed, I don't know whether you may have noticed, that most of the political assassinations in Kenya's history do happen in the months of February and March, and then July and August. Okay, June there is, but mostly July and August. The question now comes to mind, especially we as intelligence officers. Intelligence officers are very careful with these things that they are called coincidence, because we have a policy which says that if it is a coincidence, then it is not a coincidence. It is meant to be. Uh, but my investigations into these Kenyan political assassinations, I would just say it is purely coincidental that we have 2 seasons of political assassinations. Of course, a person like Ronald Ngala died in December, but most of the political assassinations are in the 2 seasons. I wanted to use this opportunity because in in less than a week, we are going to have an anniversary of Robert Ouko, and then within a month, we would mark the 50th, the 50th anniversary of JM Karaoke's death. So you find that it is just we have just entered one of the 2 seasons of political assassination. I want to say something that is very dear to me, that all those political assassinations I've mentioned, it has always been my wish to stand by the grave and bow before the grave as a honor. Of course, in Luhya, those who do not know, is that Luhyas consider that they have not participated in funeral. They have not participated in the funeral unless they stand before the grave and bow down. Of course, Luhya will tell you that if I'm offering myself to go to all those graves during daytime and in the full glare of everybody, then I have nothing sinister about it. According to Luhya tradition, if I go there and I somehow played a part in their deaths, then things will not work out for me. In fact, lawyers, if someone has something to do with the death of somebody, he can even come to the funeral time, but he will never go near the grave. But what they do, especially if the dead person usually comes to him in in nightmares, what lawyers do is that they can sneak into that place at night, somewhere in the midnight, and then estimate somewhere outside the compound, estimate the general direction of the head, and then uh, go and slaughter a sheep somewhere there at night, do the burning offering, and maybe castigate the late saying, usinikujie tena mimi, whatever. So when you see a lawyer coming during the day and going to the grave, means that the lawyer has checked himself and is 101% sure that he has nothing to do with the death. But if there is a funeral and you find a lawyer is avoiding going near where the casket is, and even after burial, the lawyer avoids going to the grave, especially during daytime, hapo ujue there is something. He may have played a part in it, or he may have wronged this person in life, and he's avoiding that. It also includes, let's say, a man has been having affairs with now the widow. If you are having an affair with your sister-in-law, your brother's wife, and your brother is sick, you don't visit him. Or when he's being buried, you don't go near the grave, or you don't go near the casket. So when you find a lawyer coming out, it means he has searched his conscience and he finds that he's innocent. To me, doing that, I find a closure. The grave that I've visited a lot, and actually even the watchmen there, the security personnel at the gate have been instructed that anytime I come, they open up the mausoleum for me to open is that one of Bishop Muge. And every time I visit it, I find that I come out very relaxed, very relaxed. Age is catching up with me. Things may, unless something else happens, I don't think it will be possible for me to pay my tribute to the grave of Ronald Ngala. It may be almost impossible. But all others, because people come nearer, 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 you may even find that there is people like From where I come from to Tomboya's Mausoleum is not far. It's not far. So others are nearer, 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 and I would really feel a closure on my side if uh, a closure in my side if I visited as many graves of brave Kenyans as possible who were assassinated. Uh, I know that time is going. I've said what I have to say. Looking at searching my conscience, I don't have anything new additional to add. I have said the maximum. And also, I sometimes when I read notes on what I had presented in before other places, I even find that I'm learning again from me. My memory is trying to get on. But I believe my our prayer is that those who know more than I do not carry their secrets to the grave. Did they write somewhere? Did they tell somebody? I have to be very frank with you. Is that I do not I do not know a lot. I do not know more than my colleagues. Actually, every profession has its. It's like in a hotel. We have people who are very good in preparing coffee. We have people who are good in preparing mokimo. There are people who are very good in serving people at the table. So I was not good in collection of intelligence. No, I actually I was below average, but I was good in let's say amalgamating reports, writing periodic briefs, telling my juniors where the report is lacking facts here and there. Can you go and fill here and there? You would have done this and whatever. When you go to the source later at a later time, please cover this and whatever. But telling me to go to the field and investigate and find out, not investigate, find out how people are feeling this and that was a problem to me. But me, I could tell people this and that. I have to be clear at that. At all times, I am conscious of the family's feeling. Some deaths leave families embarrassed. For example, Musando's death. You see, Musando was assassinated. So you find that Musando's death leaves the family embarrassed. Imagine he had the widow going through all this, and at the back of her mind is that Musando died with a side chick. You see, that thing also affects the families. So whenever I handle families, although the cases I've handled, there is nothing to do with the side chick. Actually, our people our people believed that Ouko had a side chick, but what had happened is that Ouko was, uh, for a lack of a better word, Ouko was a polygamist, and it was a known and accepted fact within the family. So I've never had an opportunity to be involved in an assassination where somebody has a side chick. But then you find that when you discuss these things, you are careful not to, you have also to be very conscious of the family, because as I've said, I've not handled any issue of that type. But then suppose I was handling a case like uh, Musandos. Hmm? I have to be alive to the fact that disclosing everything would embarrass the families. But in a few cases, holding those few embarrassing structures would kill the story. For example, and I'm going back to Musando, in a case that I never handled, you see, if you kill the story that Musando was found with a side chick, then you find that the story would die, because those who killed him or those who assassinated him would always try to push such an information, and when they push for such an information, they will, when they push for such an information, they find that Kenyans like juicy stories. Since Kenyans like a juicy story, you'll find that the such issues will uh, will have killed the true story. There's also this aspect of, Tom Mboya wanted to overthrow Jomo Kenyatta, and a lot of people have even abused me, telling me that you don't know Tom Mboya and you didn't know whatever. We all have two sides of our life, the known and the unknown. But the truth is, Tom Mboya had a plan to kill, I'm not to overthrow Jomo Kenyatta. And if we say, concentrate on just pointing out the good picture, the positive pictures about, if we concentrate on the positive pictures of those people without showing the few occasions, then just like we can also say that if JM would not be hot-tempered, and also Wanyoike Dhungu was not hot-tempered, maybe the other syndicates which wanted to kill JM would have killed him. So we have to give that holistic picture. And now people really look for words. If I say I'm happy, people say, "Oh, you are happy? People are dead." But I'll just say that I'm happy that the cases that I handled, none of the politicians who was assassinated was in a criminal activity or an immoral activity. No, all of them were never criminals and they were never immoral people. The person the person I've met most is Tom Mboya's daughter, Joy Mboya. I used to offer security services at her place of worship, not very far from Nyayo Stadium. I used to tell her that I've written a book to elaborate about her father's death. She gave me the impression that she was waiting for the book like anybody else. But sincerely, with due respect to my sister, she never gave me the. Okay, compare and contrast. I I would say that I tend to be impressed by Rosemary Karaoke, because Rosemary Karaoke, she has really followed the issues of her father's death, and she even sent me a message through WhatsApp appreciating the risks that I've taken for such cases. And yeah, occasionally she calls me once. And I mean, what I want to say here is that I tend to believe that Rosemary has a special interest in me, in that she appreciates the dangers I've taken to expose her father's killers. But on the other side, my other sister, Joy Mboya, when I've talked about her father's, she appears to, you reach a place where you even want to ask her, or are you namesakes? Maybe you are not. But when we discuss other issues apart from her father, Joy Mboya is, during those time when I used to be regular to her place of work, she would, any topic under the earth, she would interact with me intellectual-wise. But when I talked about her father's assassination, she used to. Have you ever talked in a language and then you discover one of the three people in the room does not understand the language you're talking? You see that follows and then laughs at the time when he's supposed to laugh. I think those people who have interacted with the people, it is very easy. Just go to Oshago, maybe, and then you talk with somebody who doesn't know English, and you're three. So that person will just be looking at you, smiling where he thinks that he's supposed to smile, mm, eh, waving. I hope you understand that. So whenever I've talked to her uh, about her father, she has been polite. She has never mentioned anything whatever. but I may be wrong, but I've always had the impression that she there are these people, maybe whether I talk it or not, it's none of Ashauri. That is the only member of the uh, Tomboya family I've met. Uko family, Uko family, during the funeral service at for Mama at Sita, I met somebody, I think it's Kilakuni, Kenya Airways CEO, who told me that he went to the same, he studied with the Ouko son. I don't know whether it is a university or anywhere, but he said they are age mates and they went to school together. He knew me. There was no need of me introducing. Then he introduced me to somebody who is a cousin to Ken and a nephew to the Oukos. Um, and then that is when that cousin to Ken told me that that is when the cousin to Ken told me that as a family, they have two views. As a family, they have two opinions. They know that Ouko belonged to them and Ouko belonged to the country. They said they knew that Ouko belonged to them and Ouko belonged to the nation Kenya. So he told me that Ouko as a family, they don't want to discuss him. It is like reliving the funeral again. So he told me that after the funeral period, I should get in touch with the family. But when visiting them and or even paying my last respect to the grave, I should not discuss the environment of his death. And I respected that and I respect that. The second thing he told me that now that is Ouko, the family man. So they said as a family, they do not want to discuss it. But as a national leader, as a Kenyan leader, he told me that Kenyans had a right. Kenyans had a right to know how their political leaders are assassinated. So out there, in TV stations, in media houses, in public places and whatever, they gave me the freedom to say anything and everything that I knew. But when I went, but if I meet them and whatever, we should talk personal issues. He even asked me, if I had personal issues and whatever. Of course, I just said my kids were in secondary, and that is a long time. You see, they have already completed secondary school, isn't it? And then the he gave me the his telephone number, of which I was supposed to call him maybe after after a period of mourning. But then I lost my phone. So I don't have his number. But if you ask me, I don't think I lost my phone. I think members of the NIS got the phone from me. How and where, I don't know. I just said that we don't believe in the intelligence in the coincidences. It's how I could lose my phone within days of meeting them. And you see, when I lost the phone, I lost several, what do you call? I lost several uh, contacts, including the Ouko family. But to me, they just said that it is like I'm a family member to them. I still would wish to go to pay my respect to the family, but with the knowledge, not but with the knowledge, knowing that to them it is just catching up. Yeah, I think the best word is catching up. That is what they told me. Muge left 4 kids, 2 sons and 2 daughters. There is a son who took a second degree in law. Son who took a second degree in law. and we have been communicating on phone, but we have never met one on one. I think the contents are confidential, but I believe he must have been affected to take the second. You see, when people say I took a I studied, I used to be sick, and when I was young, I used to be sick, and I saw how people are being treated in the hospitals. I became a doctor. I would not be wrong if I said that his second degree must have been due to the unfairness of the justice system during the time it was there. But we have communicated a lot, and as I say, most of the top contents are confidential, but leaning towards him as a lawyer. Mm, As a lawyer, I met the second son. You know, there are two sons, so the second son and one of the daughters. I met them while they were leaving their residence in Eldoret. Uh, Coincidentally, on a road named after their father, and next to you see one side of the road there is the road named after their father. One side it's their home, and the other end is a church named after their father. So I was impressed that they were leaving their house. They were going to a very important meeting, and they were not to be late. But they were, some things are very emotional. I can tell you, some of these things are better than a million shillings. You see, so you are the one here. Some of the few occasions when I feel very important. Although they went late for wherever they were going and whatever, they gave me all the time I needed. They listened to me inside their home along Bishop Muge Road or something. I don't know, but the road is called Bishop Muge. I don't know whether it is avenue or street or anything. I was really, uh, and I really felt that there is no payment. There is no payment that can reach that appreciation that I felt. Uh, Not only living the important things that they were going to do, but the way they listened to me. Hi. Some people, if we have always been brought up and we have grown up to be told you are useless and whatever. So on one day when you spend 2 to 3 hours feeling as if you are a saint, and not just a saint from anybody, uh, from the family of Bishop Muge. The short time, especially the observation that I could keep quiet and live, but chose to risk my life. You don't know how that was music to my ear. During the task force for TGRC, there are two. There was the task force and there was the TGRC itself. The task force was headed by Professor Makau Mutua, and the TGRC was headed by Ambassador Kiplagat. During the task force, I met Rosemary one-on-one. But since I was going to give my evidence to the task force, I didn't take time to brief. If I would have known that the task force would be a public relationship thing, if I would have known that the TGRC itself would have been, I would have shared my info. But at that time, I felt that the best thing is to share it with the two TGRCs. But as you know, Ruto received the TGRC, not Ruto, Uhuru received the TGRC report, and he said that it will be implemented in full, but he meant it will not be implemented at all. Uh, we There is a time I met one of the Mrs. J.M. Karaoke uh, at her residence opposite Naivas supermarket, and we discussed that day. Uh, it was something that yani, okay, what had happened is my son was had an attachment to a law firm. So the first day my son was going to a law court. Let me not mention which law court because it would mean disclosing where Mrs. JM stays. There was a law court there, and then when my son went to participate in court proceedings as somebody attached to a law firm, I moved not very far from the Nini, and then went to meet Mrs. JM Karaoke. Um, coincidentally, her best friend, coincidentally, her best friend came. Coincidentally, her best friend came, and the first thing I noticed, because when she learned who I was and she was busy, first of all, I was really, the first thing I noticed is that I was really humbled that she had a meeting, a very important meeting with other people, and she had never met me. Of course, she knew me from the media houses and whatever, but she had to stand down those people whom she was meeting, told them that she was meeting a very important person. Hey, at times I'm important. Anyway, she said she was going to meet an important meeting, and we talked. And as people were preparing the gazebo for me to meet her, a certain lady came. Certain lady came with a vehicle, and she drove past me. I noticed a funny thing about this other lady is that she was really looking at me. Could I say in a suspicious manner or anything? Uh, but to my mind, to my mind, I was thinking that maybe she was remembering, is this the fellow I've seen on TV or something? That is what went into my mind. So she looked at me thoroughly as she was driving slowly, and we went to the gazebo. It was a coincidental that she was coming. It was coincidental that I was there, and it was coincidental that Mrs. J.M. Karaoke had another very important meeting, but decided that this other meeting should wait until we complete what we wanted to see. To meet somebody she had never met. Then from there we sat down, and this lady still looked at me until Mrs. J.M. Karaoke told her that I am a stranger. And actually she was even thinking when she was told that I had come, that the person who knows about the assassination of her husband is around, she decided she wanted to call her. She wanted to call her best friend, but then just coincidentally, the best friend had come. And then the best friend said, she mentioned somebody. I thought this is so and so's son. You see, when I'm with them, mimi ni mtoto. I thought this is so and so's son. Said, and Miss J.M. They really resemble. They really resemble. That is when I realized that she was looking at me that way, thinking that how is this boy seeing me going and is not even waving or anything. And then we talked. As, we took, is it 90 minutes? And they kept reminding me to take my tea. Uh, when I talk, I even forget that after we have cleared is when I took the cold tea. This other lady, she was a Kikuyu, because whatever we were talking. 60% was in Swahili, 60%, 30% in Kikuyu, and 10% in Kiingereza, Kimombo. So as we were talking, she was being referred to as Mama so and so, and I remember it's quite some time back. It's quite some time back, 4 years back. So when she was being referred to as Mama so and so, the child whom she was being referred to was a Kisi lady. A Kisi lady. Then I remembered that J.M. Karaoke, when he died, he was preparing himself to go and attend a wedding in Kisi. He was planning to go for a wedding in Kisi. Then I just feel maybe this is the wedding that he was to attend. But this lady, Kikuyu lady who's married into Kisi, after we had completed talking, she told me that she thanked me and said that her kids, now, yeah, let me use the exact words she used. Her kids have always been asking her, why was uncle killed? Now I have an answer. That is what she told me. Uh, as you may have noticed, I have looked through. As you may have noticed, I have looked for and gotten boost in morale, but nowhere have I been offered presents. Every time I meet these people, every time I meet these people, and I can even look at you in the face and say, even ile wanasemaga fair ya kurudi or anything. So it is not financial, it is not financial. But whenever I meet them and leave them, I usually leave that place very, very happy. People will notice that it is like lightening up. From that time on, you find that my life is very happy. When you feel that the work, that the things that you have done, the risks that you have done, having grown up in a place where, by the way, if you would have known Lando, my father, never appreciated anything, especially from some of us. Those whom he never appreciated were very clever in life and in class. But those anyway. So when having grown up in a situation where everything you do, you get 99%, you are told, what about this 1% you didn't get? Um, that is how you find that when you are appreciated, and not just appreciated by anybody, appreciating by those people, those who are uh, who is who. When they say they are proud of me, they feel that the pain they have gone through their younger days are justified. When we talk to each other and we discuss and whatever, then they look at the bigger picture. Yes, some didn't go to school because the breadwinner was killed. Some lived even life where they were nafika pale naona whatever. Then they feel that even though they have a small sacrifice of growing up in a pained manner, they have a small sacrifice of lacking parental love. They love whatever, but they feel proud to be kids of a freedom fighter, to be whatever. And then they turn to me and thank me. They thank me. And I feel humbled. And I also feel the pain they go through. That even though kids, my kids who call me father, have gone through education and being chased. I remember my son Kareithi. At one time. He used to go to school for 3 months per year and be at home 9 months per year. Instead of the other way around, where students are at home for 3 months, April, August, and December, and 9 months in school. But I do feel myself, I don't know whether my kids also would feel the same, but I do feel that mine is a very minute contribution to the country. I cannot be compared to those heroes who paid the ultimate price by ceasing to intake oxygen, whose families suffered and continue suffering because of our nation. God bless Africa. God bless Kenya. And God bless those heroes who, through their pain, our country is what it is. I cannot say more. I cannot say less, but appreciate them and thank them. You do our country proud. Thank you and God bless you.